Life.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl DeeDee. Welcome back to the channel. So I am back with another reaction video for you guys. Now, before we hop into the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It's free to subscribe, share, and like the video, and turn on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new content. All right. So I'm back at it, you guys. This video comes from O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to O'Shea. In this video clip, this woman is talking about how she got backlash from saying that she left a good man, waiting for her husband. And now she's responding to the backlash. And I want you to hear what happened in this particular video, and then I'll give my 2 cents. But shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. Let's go ahead and get into this particular video. Here we go.
Now, when you're in the celebrity or commentary industry, you will follow certain pages. And one of them that I do follow is the Shade Room. Not because I really like the Shade Room, but because of stories that break out. And I was interested when I came across this young lady by the name of Amani Talks Pod. Now, I had never heard from her until this day, and she basically was getting a whole lot of backlash because of this viral video.
I'm the girl who 2 years ago, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend and I said he was good, great even, but he wasn't my husband. And all the incels, even some women were like, what? You left a good man? You left a good man? See, this is why women are single. This is why you'll never find a husband. Here's the thing. High standards do nothing but good. If your standards do not eliminate most, they aren't high enough. You only marry one person. So yeah, good wasn't good enough. Now I actually have the person that I should be with, right? Lord willing, we'll make it to the altar. We'll pray over everything. But never let nobody tell you that you're doing too much. Especially as a woman when it comes to your life partner, knowing that this man is going to lead you, be the father of your children one day maybe. You're going to have to live with this man, maybe for 50 years. Never let nobody tell you that you're doing too much. There's no such thing as too much.
Now, I will say this, and I want to chime in. Being a married woman who's been married now close to almost 30 years. Oh my God, being with my husband, damn that 30 years. Boy, the time flies fast, right? And having a huge family. I understand completely what marriage is, how hard it is to maintain a marriage, and the work that goes into it on both sides, right? And I'm just going to assume because, you know, she put her hand up with her ring as if, I guess she's engaged to be married. Now, I'm assuming that that's what it is. And much love and respect to her, and congrats to that. And hopefully things work out like she said. But I've seen so many supposedly great people, really great people come together and they couldn't make it. I've seen so many people who have had, you know, from people rich to, you know, middle class to poor, people who have married and did not make it. And they swore up and down that it was from God, that it was their soulmate. This person is the love of their life. This is, you know, they've said it all, that in the beginning, they're like, oh my God, in the beginning, everybody is so excited, as you should be. And, you know, and this is my soulmate. This is my forever. And they thought they had it all together, but somehow they weren't able to make it last. Oh my God. So when you've been in a marriage, you know, with the person that you love and want to be with, and you build a life together, you know, and you've done it consistently for over 20 years, you learn a few things. And my thing is this, and I understand what she's saying. And I hear a lot of women say, you know, a lot of women have picked the guys who they thought was going to be there forever, and then they end up divorced because it's always easier said than done. Looking out on, you know, from the outside is always good. The things that test marriages, in most marriages, or in a lot of marriages, I ain't gonna say most, but in a lot of marriages, is the very thing that break them apart. See, when things are going good, the test is when everything is good with your spouse, it's easy. But when the things start to get a little rocky, and they will, can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? Can you stand the tough times? Can you love this person in spite of? Can you love them and be there for them when they're not their best, when they make mistakes, when they're not showing up the way you think that they should, when the money is low? Can you stand all of that? Can you balance it out? Can you be there when things get rough? Because it's easy when you haven't experienced those things. But I guarantee you, in any marriage, because marriage is supposed to be for forever, you're going to go through some bumps in the road, and that's going to test your marriage to see if you can actually do what you said you were going to do. And that's on both sides. Can you stand it? Can you be there when things aren't that good? When things are, rocky? Can you? Because that is the real test for a lot of marriages, and a lot of people don't make it. So while I congratulate her on being engaged, I'm assuming that's what she's saying by pointing to her ring. You know, a lot of times who you think is the best person for you based on whatever reasons, a lot of times may turn out not to be what you thought it would be. And so this is why you have to really vet properly, and you have to vet for the right reasons. You can't vet just for money. You can't vet just for looks. You can't vet for just certain things. You got to make sure that you have a person who is secure in themselves and know what they want wholeheartedly, and they want to be with you and want to build with you, and you guys want the same things. No matter, you know, hell or high water, y'all still gonna work through it. There's no, oh, if you lose your job, if you don't make this amount of money, I'm out. There's no, oh, if you don't please me the way I want to, I'm out. No, it's you're supposed to work through those things. Nobody is perfect. So a lot of times when people are looking at men or men looking at women, you're looking at them for certain specific things that you like. And you're sometimes, and I'm not saying this is what she do in this video, but I see a lot of women do that. I see a lot of men do it. Well, they look at it where they look at a person for certain things that they like, and you don't pay attention to the things that would, the red flags that would cause you, that are usually the things that cause your relationship to fail. So a lot of people are going into relationships or marriages with these superficial mindsets. Oh, we're gonna be a power couple, or we're gonna rule the world, we're gonna do this and do that. And when that doesn't happen, they feel like it's not giving what it's supposed to give, or it's not leveling up to what they thought it should. See, love and marriage and all these things are supposed to be unconditional, but we know they're not. There are conditions. You know, people have conditions as to what they want to work and whether it will work or not. But if you make the commitment, you got to understand it's not going to always be peaches and cream. And people always think, oh, a perfect marriage is supposed to be no arguing and no disagreement. That's a bunch of BS. Oh my God. I don't know not one married couple that hasn't had an argument, that hasn't disagreed, that hasn't had times when they were mad at each other and they don't want to speak to each other. I don't know one married couple who's been married and stayed married who hasn't been through a disagreement. So I don't know what people are looking for. I don't know specifically what their metrics are for healthy, stable relationships, but you got to understand going into a marriage, it's going to be work. And it's not only going to be work on his part, nor should it only be work on his part, but it's work on your part as well. You both have to contribute. And if you're going into a marriage with this superficial mindset that everything's going to be perfect and he got to do what I say, he's got to always listen to me, or it's my way or the highway, and I don't have to, compromise for you and you don't have to compromise for me, then it'll end badly. I've seen too many examples of it. I've seen good marriages. That's why I know that they exist. And plus I have one myself, but it's work. I wouldn't lie to you and tell you, oh, it's just all gravy. No, it's work. And you got to be willing to go through the good and the bad and the ugly. I'm not saying it has to be tumultuous, and it doesn't have to be filled with toxicity, and it doesn't have to be filled with infidelity and all of these things. But there are other things too that people divorce over who ate the last of the cereal. People divorce over some small things that they just feel they can't compromise on. So it's not always the big things that are your issues, but there are still things that will cause a marriage to dissolve if you're not able to work through them. So if anything, I would tell anybody who's newly engaged, ready to get married, try to go to some type of spiritual counselor, somebody reputable, or a married couple who've been married for over 30, 40, 50 years, and have a conversation with them. Bring you and your soon-to-be husband, and y'all have a conversation with them so they can school you on certain things that you might end up finding yourself in throughout your marriage. And if you know this is going to be a lifetime with this person, you got to understand that there's some ups and downs, ebbs and flows, as my husband would call it, bumps in the road that you can get through, and you certainly can get through them, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that they will occur. Don't go into it oblivious, thinking that everything's going to be perfect. I think this is how people fail. Going into it thinking that you should never have any disagreements, that he should never, have any issues, or you should never have any issues. No, if you go into it understanding that this might occur, and then you will be more prepared to handle those bumps in the roads, and you can have a smooth transition and keep your marriage. So many people are divorcing. So many people thought they found their soulmates. So many people thought they had the best person for them, but a lot of those relationships ended in divorce. So nobody's exempt from that. There's nothing in anybody's relationship that is so perfect and grand that you are beyond or above reproach to where this stuff doesn't affect you. And so this is what I would say. Listen, pay attention to that. Know that it's possible that there might be issues, but work on figuring out how to work through them. Child, I didn't talk so much. I didn't know there was more to the video, but y'all see what I'm saying? Hopefully that helps somebody, but let's continue.
It's a viral video. This young lady is bragging about the fact that the last boyfriend she had, she let go. And she's engaged again to a new man. And of course, when I looked at Amani Talks Pod, I started to understand what kind of podcaster she is. She's a devout Christian, and she talks about Jesus. Literally, she says in her description on Instagram, we talk about Jesus over here. But what was interesting was who commented on the video. And I guess this person follows her, and guess who it was? Lori Harvey said to this, "You ain't wrong, queen. Congratulations." Now, again, I'll give my personal opinion about this whole thing with the Money Talk Pods and her moving up and leveling up in guys. But Lori Harvey has been known to talk about very similar things. It's kind of like her blueprint to, have this message.
What does that mean for you in relationships when you're like, I'm the prize? What does that mean?
It just means not compromising like my values, my happiness, my peace, not settling for less than what I know I deserve, and not being afraid to walk away from a situation if it's like no longer serving me.
And she's even influenced men to think like her also.
Peace the whole entire time that you're dating a person. And when you're ready to leave, or when you figure, okay, well, maybe it's not compatible no more, it should be a decent exchange of like, it's not working for me no more, whatever, or you want different things, I want different things.
Now, this is interesting because Lori Harvey is praising this young lady for getting married and basically not settling for less. But at the same time, Lori Harvey is, doing somewhat of the opposite. Remember Lori Harvey dealing with Future, Michael B. Jordan, Damson Idris, then not dealing with Damson Idris anymore, and then spinning a block and dealing with Damson Idris again. And by the way, Michael B. Jordan goes on to have even a better career and do greater things without her.
Yeah, listen, the whole Lori Harvey situation is the idea that a lot of women share. And a lot of those women tend to be single for years, because while I agree that you should have standards as a woman, as a person, you should have standards. You should, prioritize certain things that you want in a relationship, but you got to understand, if you have standards, the man has standards too. And I'm not saying that you should go out and pick a bum and pick somebody who has no aspirations or dreams, or somebody who's not doing anything for themselves. No, you should have high standards when it comes to, what you expect from a man. But I also think those standards could be still high, but still be realistic. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes women are looking for perfect men, even though they know they are not perfect. And I think there's this silent way of thinking within women where they all kind of are on the same roller coaster of thinking like, oh, it has to serve me. It has to serve me, and my happiness, but they never consider the man's happiness. This is where a lot of these women go wrong. They don't have no kind of compassion or wherewithal as to what men want and how to please a man. You just want him to please you. And I think this is why you find even some of the most attractive women single, because of this very reasoning. They're very selfish and self-centered. And so men who have standards and men who have their stuff together is not going to tolerate a woman who's only thinking of herself. And while that seems cute, after a while that becomes very tiresome. And a lot of women get by with their beauty because they think that that's enough to keep a man. But now men are saying, no, I don't have to do this. I don't have to deal with that type of mentality. I could just either be by myself, I don't really need you, or I can go find somebody else. And a lot of women struggle because they have that same mentality with every man that they meet. And every man, once the man realizes that and he get past the beauty, he realizes, oh no, this is going to be too much. Oh my God. This is going to be a hassle. And this is a hassle that I don't have to take on. I know she's beautiful, but this is something I don't want to have to deal with because it's going to mess with my program and what I got going on. And so a lot of men don't want to deal with the stress that comes with that. And so this is why a lot of these women will end up single, because their expectations are way too unrealistic. It's one thing to have morals and values and you respect yourself and you want that in return. I don't think that that's the problem. I think women like Lori Harvey, she gets the respect that she feels she deserves. She presents herself pretty decent, I would say. She's a decently attractive woman. And I think she could get any man she wants, but at the same time, she can't keep them, because once they realize how she thinks and what she's about, they end up walking away, or she walks away because they don't want to acquiesce to what she's asking. And that has nothing to do with her standards. She have standards. She demands respect. I think she gets that because I don't see anybody disrespecting her or treating her in any other way that she wants to be treated. I think the expectations for the men is probably through the roof, and these men decide, nah, I don't want to deal with that. It's too much. And so that's where we see a lot of beautiful, successful women by themselves. And by the time they realize that the problem is them, it's way too late. Oh my God. So listen, that's just my thoughts on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Chime in. I want to hear your thoughts on this particular topic. Shout out to O'Shea once again. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.
DeeDeesReactions. Tell a friend, it's DeeDeesReactions.